Hi Tarot friends, this is Ultraviolet Morgan, trying out some new equipment, and we're going to do a walkthrough, unboxing, walkthrough, that's on the Gustave Dore Tarot, which is on loan to me from the illustrious Tarot Oracle. Oops, okay, I did bump my little spot. Alright, so it comes in a tuck box. This, which we know, comes with a nice little, got the Queen of Swords. Okay, it comes with a little white book. We've got some type of spread, a little bit of information about the deck. We'll have to read that later. Information on the major arcana. Then we go into the Suit of Cups, Suit of Pentacles, Suit of Wands, Suit of Swords, how to read tarot, and tarot spreads. So, okay, it says tarot spreads, but it's giving you this one card, this one spread, the 5-card spread from before, and then it goes into other languages. So, how to read tarot. Using tarot is simple. Ask a question, flip a card, gaze at the image, tell the story of what you see. Exactly. The more you study and practice, the deeper you will go, the better you will become. Tarot works differently for every individual because no two people are alike. Each of us has unique gifts, sensibilities, and intentions. Tarot's effectiveness depends on who uses it and how they use it. You will learn to cultivate your own unique reading style. I love that. That's really fantastic. I wish more books said such things as that one does. I'm going to turn on the light and turn my heat up just a little bit. I'm a little chilly. Okay, so I believe that the cards are in order, other than our Queen of Swords, which is out. So I'm gonna look real quick at. I'm gonna kind of skim the beginning. Gustave Dore was a French illustrator in the 19th century. It actually says X1X. Creating vivid paintings, etchings, and illustrations for some of the most influential works of fiction. From the lighthearted tall tales of Don Quixote to the Bible, Dante's Divine Comedy, works of Lord Byron, Edgar Allan Poe, Samuel Coleridge, and many others. Aside from fiction, Dore has illustrated London, A Pilgrimage, which had vividly captured the atmosphere of the time. Most of Dore's artworks are wood engravings. Sorry, my chair is squeaky. The artist works the image into the block of wood, which is then covered in ink and onto paper. Since Gustave Dore had illustrated some of the most quintessential works of the 19th century, from lighthearted tales of fantasy to deeply esoteric spiritual works, the themes of the books illustrated by Dore reflect deeply with the themes of tarot and fortune-telling. The cards in this particular deck are riddled with references to historical and fictional figures, from King Solomon, Moses, and Dante, to Byron, to Baron Munchausen. It is up to the reader and querent whether to acknowledge the roles of these figures in their telling, as these stories can enhance the divining, provide context, or otherwise influence the telling. Ancient and modern myths intertwine in the black and white cards, reflecting the natural and spiritual world even more than they refer to the world of man. Dore's art was able to portray and channel the majesty of the universe as it manifests in the mundane, in ways few other artists have ever come near to. For this reason, the connection between Dore and tarot is particularly strong, as both express their meaning starting from what is symbolic and then proceed beyond it into the realm of pure intuition. For each arcana, we provide 2 keywords. The first keyword refers to the core meaning of the arcana, while the second keyword focuses on the inner quality of the querent as described by the arcana. Okay, so we're going to look at that in a minute. I'm just going to show, these are the backs. The cards are on the thin side. They feel good in your hand. They're not really glossy or matte. And size-wise, probably standard. You know, I'm not huge on the flick test. I'll leave that to others who are more proficient at it. So here's the Fool. We can see a young person kind of sitting rather than standing on a hill, but we do see they look like they're kind of thinking, like what I see is someone who's thinking about their journey ahead of, you know, where they're going. They may be daydreaming of where they want to go, or they may be planning, but I feel like they're looking towards the future. So I'm going to just check out the book to see kind of the style of, you know, what they're talking about here. This says adventure and inner innocence. Right. So you get this sense that our Fool is at the beginning of an adventure. The city is behind. The unknown is ahead. Represented by youth at the start of a journey, the Fool is the protagonist of a story, someone taking in the great mysteries of life, associated with blissful innocence and new discoveries. Reversed, the Fool can often become negligent and apathetic. Okay. For me, the black and white art is very new. It's just very something, I don't know, am I not? I want to make sure I'm not getting shadow on it. I don't think I have any other really black and white art ones like this, so it takes a little bit of adjusting too, but it definitely has its own mood, kind of, you know, a different feeling to it. The Magician, and of course that's Moses with the tablets, and he's smashing them. He's angry. I remember he was angry because he came down after going up to speak to Jehovah, and they had built a golden calf. They had gotten tired of waiting, and so they had decided that they were going to worship some other god, some pagan god. They made a golden calf. They started praying to the golden calf. They didn't have the guidance they were looking for, so they found it themselves, and Moses got angry. I mean, really, who can blame him? Moses can. They just needed the guidance. So, it's my opinion. So, in the book it says, the Magician, channeling and inner confidence. I don't feel that from this. I mean, I feel anger and wrath, so this specific card might be a miss. I mean, the artwork is beautiful, but it says represented by a scene of Moses about to break the tables of law inscribed with the 10 Commandments. The Magician represents a person's power over their destiny, the potential they have to make meaningful changes, traditionally symbolizing the meeting of physical and spiritual worlds, as above, so below. That makes sense, kind of, because he did go up to the mountaintop and come down. The Magician is associated with tapping into one's talents with skill and precision, whereas reversed, those talents are used without regard for focus and manipulated. So I'm just going to be honest. I feel like this card is a big miss in terms of what's in the book about it, and in terms of even having a feeling about the Magician. I get, you know, Moses being the magician, which of course would offend him greatly, I'm sure. I like the book. I like what the book says. But there's no connection there for me. There's no connection. The High Priestess. Now, this is a cool looking picture. This almost, to me, kind of connects the High Priestess with the Hermit, you know, because she's got this lantern on her head, which is also similar to often we see the moons on her head. So this dress, I like the way that she's lounging, and her dress is just, you know, like folding out. Like, this is really nice. Let's see what it says. Keywords: intuition, inner light. With a crown, a divine light, the High Priestess represents wisdom, tenacity, ability to intuit things about the world, physical and spiritual. Each power often breeds mystique, mystery around those that possess it, as is the case with the High Priestess. When upright, this card represents one's unconscious, listening to the inner voice, and when reversed, a state of inner repression, superficiality, and confusion. Also, this book has some typo issues. Who's the publisher? Lo Scarabeo. It's nothing I can't work around, but it does have some issues. Printed November 2021. Okay. The Empress. I guess I should be drinking some tea or something because throat. Okay. So this is a very sort of religious empress involved in a religious ceremony. Looks like Egyptian, Roman, Egyptian. There's a lot of crossover. It gives me a little bit of, gives me some Cleopatra vibes. So let me see what it says. I'm not going to read every one of them. I'm just going to kind of skim it a little bit. But majesty, yes. Inner nurturing, okay. Surrounded by servants and advisors and wielding a scepter of life. The Empress is mother, creator, and nurturer, okay. Can represent the germination of an idea before it's ready to be fully born and the need to be receptive to change. See, that's really interesting information. Just don't feel it from the card. So, now how it reads, maybe it reads like butter. Who knows? I think it, you know, it's good for really enjoying the imagery and probably good for studying, and it may read well. But just at this point, it's not really clicking for me. Although some people, it may be the most amazing deck. Could be someone's soul deck. The Emperor, power, inner sense of duty. Okay. So it's really interesting that he's looking away. I don't know. That, to me, that doesn't even give me the feeling of power. The art is so nice. It's just, I just don't understand the choices. It doesn't give me the sense of power. I feel when you're going to give me a power card, you're going to be looking right at me. Like, you're going to be holding my gaze. You're going to be commanding me to, you know, sit up and pay attention, you know? I don't know. There's just something about that. So this says, represented by the King's Solitude, which must be a painting. I don't know. The Emperor sits alone. A sign of sterile regulation, unyielding, unquestioning power. Symbolizing the top of the hierarchy. Okay. It's really interesting. Something that would be good to study, but I'm not feeling it. The Hierophant. Okay, the Hierophant. This one I actually really like, because here you've got like this ancient, probably Jewish scribe or a priest or rabbi. This one is actually hitting. This one's hitting for me. Tradition and inner learning. Okay. Okay, this says this is King Solomon. Interesting. This card almost gives me High Priestess vibes. Even though it's a man. You got, the scroll. You got more of a sense that there could be some towers. I don't know. The Lovers. That is pretty fantastic. It's pretty fantastic. I don't know. How am I doing recording wise here? I'm kind of getting a feel for how I can have this arm thing that I have and record with it without bumping into it. And also I want to be able to see the camera, so I'm short, so it's got to be low enough for me to see, high enough for me not to bang into it, and I'm clumsy, so far not. But all right, so I want to pick this up and get a closer look at it. And of course, I have this new thing about Adam and Eve being depicted as white, or even fair skin, but it's old art, so what are you going to do about it? Nothing. The Lover's keyword, commitment, inner crossroads. I really like this image. You see the angel pointing up to the heavens. You know that's Adam and Eve sitting there. Because they don't have any clothes on, right? They sit between the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Represent love, unions, partnership, romance, but also balance and unity outside of personal questions. Okay, so really, reverse the Lovers represents disharmony, imbalance, conflict, and indecision. Nothing wrong with that. That's just right. That's the just right card. The Chariot. This is interesting. This is interesting because we have an ostrich. The Chariot stands for journey and inner progress. I like the art. I'm mostly really interested in the book, but I don't feel like they connect with each other. I like the book's take on things, but it's just not really connected. All right, so we've got, it says 2 unusual birds. Are they ostriches? Are they flamingos? Only the driver knows for sure. Somebody should know. So it's about overcoming conflicts, moving forward, right? Okay. It's unusual and yet it's standard. Like Justice. This is really, really good. So this is probably King Solomon deciding he's going to divide the baby, which is what I was thinking would make the most sense for... Earlier I was going to say Solomon should be on the Justice card. Excuse me. So keywords are judgment, inner equilibrium. Indicates the fairest decision will be made. Represented by the judgment of Solomon. And you see the mother just throwing herself at him. Please don't cut my baby in half. It's a horrible story. Horrible. But, you know, what's interesting about that is that it illustrates a different idea of justice that's not as... it's harsh. It's harsh justice. And I do believe that universal justice is a lot harsher, than what we think. We think justice is soft and whatever our idea of fair is. So I think that's probably a really the more confronting, thought-provoking sort of image of justice. The hermit. Oh, this is nice. I like this hermit. Wow. Love this old man here with the... Oh. That reminds me of someone I used to know when he was a customer that would come in. He used to teach school or Sunday school or something, and he would come into McDonald's and sit, and he was also he made furniture, but he couldn't get a workshop set up, and I don't know, he had his books and his notes all the time, and he was very well educated, and he was like our little mascot. I mean, everybody knew him, was friends with him. Anyway, took me on a little trip to memory lane. Our hermit, introspection and inner loneliness. Okay, right? The wheel. Wow. So I don't know if she's casting dice or lots. This gives... So to me, this is talking about luck, fortune. And I don't know if this person is here. I feel like the story that I'm feeling is that she, you know, she threw the dice and kind of like it's a bad omen. And I feel like this person is like, you know, like in Jumanji when you roll the wrong number and the things come out. It's like, and maybe she's trying to reach down and change him and manipulate him and like make that thing not be true. This is just so ominous. That's just like, ooh, that was really powerful. The other cards are like, man, then this one's just like, suck you right in. Whew. Okay, let me see. The wheel, fortune, inner fate, represented by life and death from Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The wheel represents the cyclical nature of life. It portends duality. Just as the worst, darkest times are bound to pass, so will the good times inevitably end. When what comes up must go down. Yeah, you feel like something dark is sort of coming towards her, and she's trying to figure out how to, like, change her fate. And see if she can, like, manipulate it to make it different. Tarot reader, read my cards, but tell me what I want to hear. Don't tell me he doesn't love me. Tell me he's thinking about me and he's just shy, busy, conflicted, whatever. Tell me what I want to hear. All right, the Strength card. Wow. All right, so sometimes these black and whites, you know, and as I said, doing a reading, who knows? These cards might just do it. Strength. We've got the many lions. And I wonder if this is Daniel in the lion's den. It's definitely a lot of biblical. Daniel in the lion's den. Courage and inner peace. Okay. I mean, that obviously makes sense. And you see like this light, so it's like God's protection or whatever. So some people might find their strength in that, in a higher power or something. I could definitely see some useful messages coming from that card. The Hanged Man. Wow. I got this angel. Love the perspective on this. We got this angel just kind of swooping down. People are sort of looking and ducking and sort of frightened and uncertain. Not really. But yeah, it's very majestic. You know, it's very... You also get this real sudden sort of like this figure has just appeared. The book says metamorphosis and inner revelation. So represented by an angel, their winged form plunging and falling among the monks gathered in a cloister. The hangman suggests ultimate surrender, sacrifice, and being suspended in time. Okay. Represents metamorphosis, passing trials, and sacrifice. And in reverse, ambiguity and the inability to change and egotism. Okay. Wow. Wow. Like, I'm wondering now if I should, like, relook at these or something, or what? Because these ones just weren't hitting, and now they are. Death. Sitting right on top of the world. If you look, you can see this is like, wow. It's so bleak, but yet it's just stunning in its sort of bleakness. And clouds, wow. Really don't have a lot. I mean, it's just, that's a powerful image. Mortality, inner closure, right. So this says it is represented with a hauntingly beautiful illustration of the raven. Okay, by Edgar Allan Poe. The death card represents endings and finality, self-awareness, and letting go. Reverse, this card stands for resistance to change, delaying the inevitable, and living unaware. Wow. I wouldn't have even taken this for an illustration of Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, are we sure? The book sometimes just doesn't connect, but yeah. You definitely mortality. Definitely closures and endings. Okay. Temperance. Okay, we got this nice little barmaid. And then there's this little old person. I see it like a witch with maybe some wisdom. Like, you know, like a fairy story where I ask you for some help, and then if you show me an act of kindness, then I give you some great wisdom or something that will help you later. I don't know. Temperance. Alchemy, inner healing, represented by an image from the fairies by Charles Perrault. Temperance is a card that suggests bringing about balance, exchanging one for another, being patient and taking the middle road. If there is a choice between two evils, it's best not to choose at all. Okay. Portends harmony in moderation. Okay. Huh. Again, it's like the book is good, the cards are good. Together, they just don't even make sense. The devil? Wow. Mephistopheles? I don't know. No, Lucifer, scheming.